How you doing, David?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you? Thank you for
I'm
having me
good.
on.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll get started in about a minute or two. Is that okay? In
Perfect.
the meantime, all right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much. This is kind of like a little event I'm trying to do at least on a monthly basis. And David is the honorary guest for my actual live interview in regards to the modern aging blueprint. Um, so the goal is obviously to discuss a couple things on what agents are going through. And how can we help our fellow agents on improving these very common things that I definitely think are necessary in today's market. Um, well, David, just for agents that don't might not know you, can you give us a quick background on your journey in real estate and how long you've been in the business?
Cool. Well, thank you guys everyone for joining on. I know it's 6 o'clock on a Monday, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys could be doing some showings. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes? Perfect.
Yes.
So yeah, I know a little bit about myself. I've been in real estate since 2014. I started first with flipping homes, and then shortly after I got my license. And then in 2016, I opened up my first real estate office, which was the Pilsen office in Realty of Chicago. We grew that to about 35 agents. And then in 2019, we opened up the Southside office on 6th and Pulaski, and then we grew that to about 118 agents. So my background comes with management systems, procedures, making sure we're running a good ship, my background in education, I have a bachelor's degree at Northeastern Illinois, and I also have an MBA as well. I used to work for Jewel School and CVS Pharmacy. And I only I tell a couple people, but I know you guys might think I'm crazy, but I think Jewel School has an amazing management training program that should be documented into the Harvard school courses because you learn a lot of good traits, leading big stores and stuff. So but yeah, that's a little bit about myself. I'm the youngest of nine with my brother here to the left or to your right or wherever he is in your screen. Um, and yeah, that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome, man. No, and I actually worked for Jewel for a couple years, kind of in the same time you were working. And no, I think it's a great place to definitely start. And I enjoyed it very much. And I like one of the things that you that say is that you come from a siblings of nine. How was that growing up, having nine siblings?
Um, you know what? I mean, it's not like your your white fence, picket white fence type of story, I would say. It was more coming from scarcity more than anything, more of obviously we grew up in the inner cities of Chicago. And and I've been seeing a lot of these videos coming like, hey, my mom in the 90s or my dad in the 90s. I'm like, man, I don't even can't find pictures of myself in the 90s. So I don't know how these people are able to find them. But either way, the 90s were rough. Is that what y'all see on social media? And if you guys can pop your screen, definitely love to see some nice faces. Thank you, Mr. Horacio, for going on. I know you're killing it out there in the north side, man. So keep killing it. But with nine siblings, I think a lot of times it was fun. Big family, a lot of people to, hang out with and stuff like that. Always a lot of food. Bless my mom's soul and making sure she's always was cooking and stuff. So I think it was great, man. I love all my brothers and sisters. Obviously, I share an amazing pack with my brother Israel because we grew up together. We're always stuck together. We always were doing things together, good and bad. So that's a story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you for that. It wasn't one of the questions I sent you, so throw you a little curveball.
Yeah,
So,
keep it,
so
rinse it
David,
out
you've
for
been.
2 years, let them beat it up, and then do a rehab
Let me mute
afterwards.
this gentleman here. Um,
There you go.
so you've been recognized as top producer year after year in Chicago, in the Chicago market. What do you think separates agents who stay average from agents who constantly perform at a high level?
I think it comes down to two things. Number one is discipline, and number two is consistency. If you don't have discipline, you're not gonna have consistency. If you don't have consistency, you're not gonna have discipline. So it comes back to both things. In my career, I've been able to see like two cycles in real estate, and I think it's been an amazing journey. I've seen the amazing highs and I've seen the amazing lows where, people were in crazy um, social markets that we cannot control, right? Economies that we can't control, health economies too. So it's just crazy how, through all that, we're still here closing deals, do what we do. And obviously waking up, making sure that you're out there doing the basics, literally. I know when I first started, the thing when I first started was Facebook. Even in Facebook, you couldn't even put a video at that point. It was just words. And then later you were able to put a picture, and then later you were able to put a video. So it's just crazy how now it just, you have TikTok, you have, all these crazy apps and stuff like that. And I'm adapting to it. So um yeah, I think consistency and discipline for sure.
Awesome, man.
Oh,
Awesome. No, and
another
I
one,
totally agree.
one last
Yeah,
thing
go ahead.
though, also, which I've learned is very, very fast in my career is like not giving a F of what people think of you. Very, people are gonna say like, oh, you're too new, or oh, people are just gonna hear that, and also too, you're gonna assume people are talking about you, and trust me, guys, no one cares what you're doing. No one cares, what someone is doing and stuff like that. So just those three things: consistency, discipline, and not caring what people think about you.
No, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. I think discipline and all those other things you said are very, very important today. Today, becoming an agent, especially taking yourself, your team to the next level, right? When you look back at the early years of your career, what was the biggest shift that helped you start producing at a high level?
So I come from a background from management with Juasco. So I used to manage stores. I used to always have a supervisor, department head, an assistant manager. So I always relied on them to do the work. But all right. So don't think about it like, oh, I was always the boss, right? But to me, in my eyes, like I wanted to be the boss because the bosses, I mean, in that time, were the ones that just kind of like pointing the finger, like, hey, do this, do that, and boom, 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 and then everyone else did the work. So I wanted to be there. So what I did, I literally worked my butt off to be the boss at the fastest time. So in my career at Joasco, I was one of the youngest managers in history, where all my peers were in their 60s and 70s, and I was the youngest one. So I like literally, man, I don't know if killing myself was is understatement, but that's basically what I did. So once I became the boss, I had people to do my stuff. So I knew that like if I am able to manage them strategically and efficiently, then I knew that I was going to be successful. So so yeah, so taking those skills to real estate is like, you know what? I'm not I don't like emails. If you're gonna email me, please assure that probably my assistant's gonna read it and reply. It's not me. The only time I check emails is probably like at 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And if you see emails coming back and forth, that's possibly me. Other than that, it's not me. Just throwing it out there, right? But so I started in January. My first assistant, when I hired my first assistant, was in April of that exact same year. So 4 months in, I hired my first assistant because I didn't like scheduling showings. I did not like printing out MLS sheets. I did not like scheduling things on my calendar, because that to me was just like an unnecessary task for me. So I hired my first assistant full time in April, and then I hired a second assistant in September of that same year. So by the end of my first full year, I had two assistants that were helping me in the admin stuff. So that really changed the trajectory of my career because I knew like, okay, so now I kind of have a team, and then in December I hired my first agent, which was Reynaldo Moreno, and he's still with me today. And he was my first agent, and then we took off from there.
That's amazing and that's powerful. I think knowing your weaknesses and passing those down to an assistant or passing things that you are not necessarily going to make you money, I think is very important in growing your business. Um, but no, that's awesome, awesome. Many agents say they want to grow, but their business is very reactive. What systems do you plan? What systems do you put in place to make your business predictable? Like one of the
I
things I hear about is, agents are doing the constantly roller coaster, right? So how do you make sure your business is predictable
so
month after month?
I think about it as a automotive chain, right? Assembly line. The first thing you do, you probably get the frame of the car, and then it goes to the factory, and then you put the wheels, and then you put the body, and then you put the seats, and you put the engine, stuff like that. So everything in real estate is an assembly line. So, but where do you start? You start with leads. If you get enough leads, you're gonna have clients. If you're gonna have enough clients, you're gonna have contracts. And if you're gonna have contracts, you're gonna have closings. All in my career, I only focus on leads. I don't focus on contracts. I don't focus on closings because by default, if you focus on leads, that's going to define your clients, your contracts, and your closings. So basically, the LCCC. I don't know. Everyone's doing acronyms now, so I'll call it the LCCC. Israel's always making up things nowadays, so let me make my
Okay,
own one. You guys got that? LCC, like leads, clients, contracts, and close. So focus on the leads, and then everything else will line up.
guys, so you guys in the Zoom call, make sure you guys write that down because that's going to make you guys money, right? Before I ask the next question, um, for all the agents on here, on the chat, put a number one if you've been in the business less than 1 year. And if you've been in the business less than 2 years, put a number two in the chat. We'll see you guys. Okay, awesome, awesome. David, if a brand new agent joined your team tomorrow, what system would you tell them that they must implement in the first 90 days?
Um, Learning to pick up the phone and making calls. Like when I hire an assistant, before they even touch a contract, they're learning to make calls. If you can't make a cold call, if you can't call a lead that inquired about real estate, you're not going to be able to make a call to an attorney. You're not going to have the confidence to ask a loan officer for an update. You're going to stumble. So everything starts with calls. Making the phone calls, getting out of your comfort zone to make the calls. Like, man, trust me, guys. Like in this group right here, how many people are here?
22.
22 people. And it's me and you combined. I've probably been the most rejected out of everyone here combined. I've been rejected all my life, including in real estate. So I don't know what that number is, but I'm pretty sure it has a 4 digits somewhere. So understanding that you're going to get rejected, understand that you're going to get hung up, understand that you're going to get cursed at, understand that no one's going to like your phone, your calls, understand that you're going to call them at the wrong time when they're like about to like have dinner. Understand all of that, right? But also understand the more calls you make, the more successful you're going to be.
Absolutely, I 100% agree on that. And obviously, you've seen my progression over real estate, and I think picking up the phone is one of the most important things in this business. And in regards to systems, how important is it having a CRM and structured follow-ups in your business?
So, all right, CRMs. So I started my CRM system in 2016. So in one whole year, my CRM was probably close to whatever you guys were doing, probably at one point, a piece of paper, maybe an Excel sheet, right? And that I swear, probably in my old Pilsen office, probably now that's all rotten and stuff, and some crazy stuff is in that basement. There, I have boxes which I left. A lot of boxes. There's probably like maybe like 5 or 6 boxes of my notebooks that I just wrote leads. I just started writing. So that was my year, my system. But then in 2016, I met with I didn't meet, but I saw this amazing gentleman. He came to Chicago because we had a national conference in 2016, which is our NAREP event. And in that event, I met who is now our president of Realty of America, who is Mark Demas. Show of hands. I know you guys are pretty shy, but who knows Mark Demas? You guys know Mark Demas?
Type
No.
in a one in the chat if you know Martinez. There you go. There you
All
go.
right.
Awesome. They should know
All
him,
right.
right?
Yeah, you guys should know who he is. He's the president of Realty of America. So at that time, I mean, he's been a one number one, but I think that was the first year he was number one at NAREP, top 250. And then I just literally just went up to him and I tapped him in his shoulder and asked him, like, just plain simple, just like a man. I was like, hey man, what CRM system do you use? He's like, Follow Boss. Perfect. So I turned around. I didn't ask him like how much, how do you do it? Hey, is there a coupon? Is there a group? Whatever you guys call it nowadays, right? Is there like a saving somewhere, or is it buy one get one free? Like, hey, how do you
Early.
use it? Whatever. Like, I just asked him a question. Got it, sir. Turn around. I told my assistant to go buy it. We bought it. We didn't implement until probably 8 months later. So I was paying for it for 8 months, just doing nothing with it until finally in 2017, I started really implementing it and really using it in my business and
Wow,
definitely changed
that's
the
awesome.
game.
Awesome. You guys that are in the Zoom chat, type in a one if you are using follow boss. Okay. Awesome. Awesome, guys. Awesome. David, in regards to systems, what are your non-negotiable daily activities you think every real estate agent should be doing?
Non-negotiable is is man, there's a lot, honestly, but the big one that comes to
Top
me
five.
is all right, I'll do the big one. Like the big one non-negotiable is stay ready, be presentable. I'm always in a suit. Very rare you'll see me without a suit. But I mean, I always tell agents like if $1 million client walks into that door, trying to sell, their mansion in Burr Ridge or whatever, and everybody's in sneakers and shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm in the suit, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna close that deal. If not, get the contract signed. Always be, ready to present, always be ready, like firemen, they're always suited and booted whenever the bell rings or whatever the case. They're ready to rock and roll. Why not us? Doctors are always with their lab coat or whatever you call it. They're always ready to go. Why not us? So I mean,
Yeah,
obviously there's different versions out there in YouTube and TikTok, but I mean that's to me it's worked for me and also builds me confidence on who I could talk to whenever I can talk to. Like so not only that gives first impressions, but also you're able to, have all that confidence in the world to close
absolutely.
that
I
deal.
100% agree. And if you guys don't know, I started real estate in 2020, and David told me that since the very, very beginning. And I kind of did half of it, where I put a sports coat and jeans and dress shoes all the time. That was my thing. But I soon realized that to take myself to the next level, I got to listen to what these guys are saying. Him and Eddie were always in suits, and that's like in what 3 years ago. I was like, all right, I'm suited in 100%, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And I think it's changed my business. It changed my confidence. And if it wasn't for what you said and what Eddie said, it's like, yeah, I probably would have been in jeans and a dress shirt.
And Apollo.
And I'm sometime. All right. Well. Many agents struggle with consistency. How did you build discipline in your business?
By having a calendar, even when I was at school, I would always have a calendar because, so when I was in college, and a lot of few people know this, but in college at Northeastern, when I was going for my bachelor's degree, I wasn't the smartest kid, so I didn't get no scholarships, guys. So, I got what I got and I had it work. So I had a full-time
I went to the
job.
Marine Corps, so
There you go. Thank you, Israel, for your service. So I worked a full-time job. I also had a part-time job and I went to school full-time. So I really had no time to like for a break or I seen all my college friends like going to frat parties and all these cool college things, but I didn't because I had to work. So obviously work full time, work part time, and work and school full time. So I had to like balance my brain because you have all these classes, you have all these quizzes, you have all these exams, at the same time you have work and you have part time job. So you manage all that. So I had to create a calendar for myself and that's what I did. I started my own calendar for like when the projects are due, when I need to start studying for this exam and all things like that. And then I became a habit. So when I got into real estate, I was like, oh, perfect, So creating a discipline and a habit of putting things in your calendar, and even if it's like personal stuff, like vacations, date nights, going to vacation or whatever, or picking up your kids, field trips, or anything like that. So you definitely want to make sure that everything starts in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist.
I agree. I agree. And if you were had to rebuild your business from zero today, what system would you set up immediately?
Definitely have a CRM, right? Start with that. Obviously, you know what? It's a different market now. It's a different market now with social media, with videos and things like that. A lot of people are doing like tours of restaurants and all that works, right? But to me, I would just I think I would do the same thing, keep doing the same thing what I did the first week I was doing. I literally called all my friends and family in my phone and just let them know like, hey, just I'm in real estate. If you know of anyone thinking about buying or selling, can you please think of me? Simple text. I send it to everyone. Do that and then start get the ball rolling. Obviously, get some systems into some cold calling. Obviously, that takes a little bit of money, but first I would just do everything that's free right now. Obviously, Realtor of America has an amazing system where you have follow balls, you have a CRM for yourself, do social media. We have a lot of beautiful listings, do open houses. Like every weekend, I used to do what's called open house blitz. So I used to do 3 open houses on Saturday and 3 open houses on Sunday. So that's 6 open houses on a weekend, and that would just bring me so much business, right? And obviously I'll tag along, I'll have my lender tag along with me because, hey man, we got to work on this together. So that's what I would do.
Absolutely. I think I really like that approach. If you're a new agent and you did an open house this weekend, type in A3 on the chat box. I want to see who did an open house this weekend. Okay. Jose. Awesome.
Good
Awesome.
job, Jose.
Awesome. So let's talk about leads a little bit. Um, what have been your top three lead source over the years?
Uh so obviously I've been doing this for a while now, so it's changed dramatically now. But in the beginning of my career, a lot of it was social media and then online leads. And then these are leads that I really, really pushed to generate, to receive, right? It was prospecting, right? And now in my career, a lot of them are referrals, past clients, current clients, past client referrals, business partners. Through the years, I've been able to connect with a lot of amazing business partners, business owners, elected officials, the connections I've been able to put. And also, too, right now we're closing a lot of referral business from thanks to ROA. If you guys are not plugged in into the Realtor of America Facebook page on the referral network, make sure you guys get plugged into that because there's a lot of referrals going in and out. So now like 2026 referral business, past client referrals, you know, that's my big uh big bulk of my business right now. On top of the social media, the inbound stuff that comes in, you know, things like that.
Right. And what's your biggest, how do you keep in touch with your past clients to get those referrals? What do you do?
Follow Boss, our systems has automations, action plans. Right now, we're doing a big heavy push on our past clients. I mean, I have a I have so much data. So right now, my follow boss, I have over 30,000 people in my follow
Wow.
boss. So
Wow.
30,000 people that were like pounding the phones and getting in touch with them. And so that's what I'm saying. Like all you agents that press one, that you guys been in the business for 1 year, track your clients. No, no, not track your clients. I'm sorry. Track everyone. Your neighbor who you talked about real estate, that open house person, the person you met at the grocery store, the person you met at the cleaners, the person you met at the bank, everyone and anyone. I always say this to the agents. Everyone that you know or everyone that you can talk to can do three things for you. Either they can buy, they can sell, or they can refer you someone. Those are three things they can do for you. So
Absolutely.
everyone is a lead. Everyone's a lead. Everyone's gonna say, "Oh, this is a bad lead." Like, no, it's not a bad lead. You just don't know how to work the lead. I don't
Absolutely.
know how many times I got renters into home buyers. I know so many people like will tell me like, "Oh, David, like I want to buy in Elmwood Park." "Oh, okay, great. Guess where they buy? Cicero, because I sold it to them.
Yeah.
Because they wanted a beautiful $400,000 house in Elmwood Park. You get a grandma's house, but in Cicero you get a nice oversized bungalow fully rehab for 400,000. Obviously, I'm talking about maybe 2022 prices, right? I don't know about right now, but
Yeah.
it's the way you got to sell things, the way you got to connect with them, and then obviously with confidence and your trust the part, you're gonna close that deal.
Yeah. No, and I 100% agree. I tell my clients all the time, like, once we close, like, did you ever think that you were going to buy this type of house? Like, nope. I wanted a basement. You ain't getting no basement. I wanted a basement. I'm not gonna get a basement. You never know. You just gotta sell it to them. Every time you open up that door, one of the things I learned from you is like, welcome home, right? Welcome
Yeah.
home to your home. That's awesome.
Yeah, every time you do a showing, you always want to tell them, "Hey, welcome to your house,"
Yeah,
and they're all gonna smile. Once you get
absolutely,
them to smile, they're yours.
absolutely.
You
That's how
close
you
that
build the
deal.
rapport with your clients. Um, Many agents fear prospecting. What mindset shift helped you become comfortable generating business?
Going back to my those three principles, like not giving an F what you people think about you. I used to door knock when it was snowing. There's pictures of me where I posted where I had a listing in what was it, Oak Park or Riverside? One of those two. And I was door knocking because I wanted to get more business and it was snowing. And unfortunately, that was the only time I had time to do door knocking. And it was night and I was passing out flyers in the middle of the snow. It's the uncomfortable thing. People want a beautiful day like today. Everyone's probably like in a home. I was out there driving in the blizzard to go to Indiana to talk to two broker owners that are now thinking about joining Realty of America while everyone's at home covering themselves in the blizzard. I'm out there. What's that phrase? Go against the wave. That's
Yeah,
literally what I did. I literally saw the blizzard hitting me like bam, bam, bam. So I just went with my truck. Let's go.
yeah. It's your Cybertruck
A truck.
beast.
Cyber beast. Yes.
That's awesome. No, and I think
Put
one of the things is
Israel. Tell them to put in a chat. Who stayed home? Press the one.
yes. Who stayed home all day today? Press one.
Nah, I'm just
Type in a
kidding,
one in the
guys. It's
chat.
all right, guys. It's all right. I'm just kidding. Remember, it doesn't matter what I think about you guys.
They put point 0.5.
0.5.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All
Right.
right, Israel.
And
Israel, you two answer.
point 0.5. Uh, how important is phone prospecting today in 2026 compared to when you started?
I think it's still good. I mean, I think cold calling for sale by owners. I think everything works. Door knocking, cold calling, you know, doing events, everything works. What I always say is like, what doesn't work is the agents, and that's including myself too. Where like, oh, like I remember one time, I started cold calling, I think in 2018 or 2017, 2017. And I did it because I was low on contracts. And then I rang like probably for like 2, 3 days, and I got a good deal, a good contact. I got an investor. They gave me like 5 listings. So I was like, oh, good. I'm good for the month. And then all of a sudden, like it's springtime, summer, and then I was busy, and then boom, I was good. Like I didn't have to cold call anymore because I was just busy. But obviously, you want to, instead of you closing 40 deals, you want to do 80. Then you cold call every day. You door knock every day. You do marketing every day. In my team right now, we're doing a social media blitz for the next 30 days. We're gonna do a reel every single day. So do you guys all like and comment on my reel? Please make sure you guys do that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But challenging yourself and and doing things that people won't want to do. But I think everything works. You know, people back then thought social media was a joke. People back then thought that, why are you doing a video of yourself? You know, but look at it now.
Absolutely. How many hours do you think an agent should be prospecting every day?
Minimum, and I say very minimum, at least 1 hour minimum.
Yeah,
But people that are gonna, I mean, this is just minimum. I'm not even saying average. If you want to be average, you should be doing at least 2 or 3. If you want to be great, you should be doing at least 4 to 5.
absolutely. I 100% agree. I tell new full-time agents that minimum 3 hours prospecting. If you're a part-time agent, minimum 1 hour. I think that's pretty good if you're going to be generating business either through cold calling or through prospecting through social media. I think minimum 3 hours for a full-time agent is reasonable in today's market, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. How should new agents build their database when they feel like they don't even know anybody?
Everyone knows someone. If you don't know someone, go start meeting people. Go to networking events. And also, wait a minute. Go to networking events that are not full of real estate agents. Go to networking events, like for example, like in end of April, I'm going to this attorney lawyer event that's talking about home buyers. Guess what? I'm gonna be the only realtor there with a full of attorneys. I'm gonna try to get all that business, right? But go outside your outside your comfort zone, like the Chamber of Commerce, the Illinois Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, get connected. I know this real estate agent in Chicago that focuses a lot of these universities that has like marketing clubs, you know, economics clubs. They also have real estate clubs. Join those clubs and give your guidance and your knowledge to those real estate clubs. So obviously that's a golden nugget for you, for everyone here. That's something I wish if I had a twin, I would have him do that. But unfortunately, this guy's too busy.
Oh my God. I always say we need a triplet, man.
Oh, seriously.
I know, man. There's so much work to do, man. It's
I
the
would
little
have
of
the,
us.
I would have them do all the school real estate clubs and join them and give your input and share your ideas and then get that business and have them become real estate agents or have them refer your business, and there you go. That's at least 10 deals a year if you
I know.
get 5 universities, colleges, whatever. And also too, here's another
Absolutely.
one. Go to the job fairs, for real estate business. I mean, sign up for job fairs in your communities and your whatever. And because a lot of those people looking for another job, doesn't mean that they don't have a job. They're just looking for another opportunity. So talk to them about real estate. Like, hey, did you know you can buy a house with 15K grant or whatever? And imagine you do 5 job fairs focusing on real estate business. That's what my other chin would do. You know, School
Absolutely.
clubs, job fairs, and he'll be
Yeah.
set.
If you've done a job fair, type in a one on the chat box. Let's see. Anybody done a job fair? Eileen? Okay. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Definitely do job fairs. I definitely think that's a huge unserviced event for sure. Um, What do you think is one mistake you see agents make when trying to generate leads?
They don't follow up with the leads.
Yeah.
You know, and that used to be me too. I used to generate so many leads, and then I wouldn't have the time to follow up leads, but because I had an overflow of leads and I couldn't keep up with them, so a lot of the leads will fall through the cracks. I always say this, like my first year in real estate, I closed 24 deals. If I would have known what I know today, I would have probably closed maybe 50.
Oh yeah, me too.
But
No, doing something with this by, ano, be quiet, guys.
hey,
Later.
Josie, I like your
Let me
dinner,
remute.
Josie.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And another thing I think is when younger or newer agents think about in buying leads like up front. I think they should first learn how to generate leads, and then once it's built, have enough closings, then they could look at other options. I think,
Yeah.
um, right? So most agents focus only on their next commission check. When do you start thinking about building long-term wealth?
Um, it's kind of hard to do that when you're trying to run a business and you don't know what you're doing, right? I think once you have consistency with your business, then you start reinvesting that money back into real estate, you know. Um, I started flipping homes and then I slowly got into rentals. Then I slowly started selling the rentals. So now I'm focused on just building Realty of America because Realty of America gives you just that wealth builder, and obviously it's harder said than done. Obviously, we got some leaders here, and it's not as easy as people think, and it's also a skill that you have to learn too to be able to grow your revenue share, right? And I think revenue share is something that, I just had a conversation today with an agent. They're like, David, man, you're in Indiana, blah, blah, blah. And dude, don't forget about the real estate business. Like, hey, the real estate business taken care of, but eh, and their mindset was like, the rev share is not that big, but what they were thinking about, their rev share mindset was this small. Wait, this small. I'm thinking rev share like this. I don't know if you guys can see my screen.
Yeah.
So to me, rev share is an opportunity that we all have. We just gotta take it. And I think everyone should be thinking about that very seriously because if we're not gonna build it, someone else will. And someone will build it and grow it massively.
Yeah. And that's very powerful, David. And I think it's a huge opportunity here at Realty of America. And that's kind of going to lead into my next question. What are some ways real estate agents can create income beyond just a transaction?
I was telling this to this broker owner today, and they do very well. They do probably like 80 or 90 deals a year. Just him, not the agents. And I told him we're only good as the last deal. Once you close, like to me, when I tell my team, like when they tell me like, oh, we had 7 closings this month, like to me, that doesn't bring me a smile. To me, that's man, like, damn, we need to put 7 more deals under contract. Like, what are we doing? Like, how are we gonna put 7 deals under contract? Like, what's going on? Right. But once those deals are done, you're basically done too, right? And that's why I'm really, really focused. Probably like maybe 60, 70% of my effort and time is put into the rev share piece because I know that rev share is going to keep building and building and building. And you sometimes, you just don't know how big it's going to get, because it's just crazy how big is grown. Like I've doubled my rev share in the last 15 months.
Oh yeah. And Russia are very powerful too, especially with a brokerage like ours, where we are today as compared to where we'll be in 10 years. It's gonna be something special. Um, And that kind of leads to my other question is, why is it important for agents to think like business owners rather than just salesperson?
Um, Here, that's another thing too. Unfortunately, sometimes we haven't been taught that, right? Sometimes how do you expect me to do this? And I don't even know how to do step 1 or 2. You want me to do step 10, right? So it's just all just like raising your hand and learning. And also like as a person, like also telling yourself, like, you know what, I need to do this. I need to learn this. And also I always like to say this, like always be a people watcher. Like always watch what more successful people are doing and what they're doing and how they're doing it and just copy it. When I started my real estate business, obviously the person I looked up to was Eddie Garcia. He was always suited, he was always confident, he was closing deals. I was like, man, like I'm never gonna get there. Which obviously now he's in a different level. Like, man, I'm never gonna get that one either. But that's the standard for me, the minimum standard. So to me, find your minimum standard and don't let it be like here, have it here,
Yeah.
and push and don't give up and don't give a F what people think. And, yes, everyone has problems, just gotta keep pushing and just keep going.
Yeah. One of the things I've learned, one of the things this quote I always remember from one of my sergeant majors, the Marine Corps told me, we are all commandants or sergeant major of the Marine Corps in training. I like to put that in here is like, we are all an Eddie Garcia, David Dominguez in training, as long as we shoot to get up there, we're going to be okay. You know, just a thought.
Yeah.
Um, how important is it to build something that can produce income even when you're not personally closing deals?
You guys know, I'm pretty sure you guys read all those real estate books and investments and all these short clips about like, oh, make money when you sleep. That's the only way you guys are really gonna be able to build wealth. You know, you're only gonna be able to put that deal under contract when you actually have them sign and close it, right? But what if you make money through your sleep, where you're investing in real estate, flipping homes, getting rentals, and then growing your rev share? Now there's just generating multiple businesses, and now you have different streams of income, and now you're doing pretty well, right? So I'm not saying not to focus on your business, which is very important, right? But you also have to dedicate some time. If it's in only 5%, 3%, 10%, whatever you want it to be, you got to focus on more things. And obviously, people are going to say like, oh, well, I need a day off. Like, well, I mean, that's a sacrifice.
Right. I like to think about real estate as like a your own corporation, right? You have, corporation or like a Walmart corporation. They have different products that they're selling, right? In real estate, we're helping people buy and sell, and then you should have another department where you have your real estate investments, right? You have your rentals, your flips, all these different business structures, right? And you are the only one overseeing. And on top of that, you have your rev share, your organization, your growth strategy on how you're going to grow each business, right? And you're obviously the CEO of your own company, where you should be acting, in my opinion, like that CEO, where you're generating, figuring out way, okay, buy and sell is not so high right now. What I need to do to grow that. My real estate investments is not going as I want to go. I'm not making as much as I want. What I need to make to adjustments. My organization in regards to rev share, I need to grow it by 10% in a few months or whatever. You got to strategize. You got to sit down and focus on every little business. And I think, being a real estate agent, having a real estate license gives you an opportunity. It's not just buy and sell. It's just so much opportunity. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Um, what advice would you give agents who want to build a business that gives them freedom and not just another job?
Say that again.
What advice would you give agents who want to build a business that gives them freedom, not just another job?
You have to scale. Everything you do in business, you have to make sure that, because when you run in a business, you have to make sure that the business can run without you. You know, I've been blessed to now. I think I took my longest vacation ever in my career in real estate, which was 2 weeks. Not once did I care to see if the office was burning or not. Just kidding, right? I do care, but I was like, I'm good. Everything's fine. Nothing's gonna happen. So I took 2 weeks off, which was, at first I thought like, oh man, I'm gonna probably get bored or whatever, but I just loved that I was able to disconnect, from the madness, right? But that also recharged me to go even harder for 2026. So I went in the last 2 weeks of December and the first week of January, and it was an amazing trip where I was able to disconnect and refuel and really think about what I wanted to do for 2026. And obviously 2026 was a year that I want to dominate and keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, that was basically it. But in order to do that, you have to have the team to do that. You have to train your people to do that. You have, just the business has to keep rolling.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think New Year's Eve, I was like so anxious to like, I can't wait for 2026. I'm like so excited for it. I had that day one event, which was a huge success in my opinion. We had over
Yeah.
what 70 people, what agents there to were cold calling, and I was just like, man, I just couldn't wait for 2026 to happen. And we're already in March, and I feel like, we're already in so much into 2026. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait to imagine how 2027 is going to look like. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
Awesome,
Oh yeah.
awesome. If you could give one piece of advice to agents who want to dominate the next 5 years in real estate, what would it be?
I think so. In real estate, there's a lot of shiny objects. The next tool, the next this, the next that. I say stay focused. Learn from someone that's doing it better than you. You know, be be present. You know, go to trainings. At Roots of America, we have a lot of trainings in person on Zooms, and we have the Success Vault. Israel, ask them like, hey, who has been on Success Vault?
Yeah, type in on one if you've been on the Successful with Realty of America. Awesome. Elliot. Awesome.
All right.
Awesome.
And just focus on learning. Focus on learning the business, focus on becoming a better salesperson. All right, here's another thing, guys. You know, oh man, how can I say this? A lot of times, you hear, real estate is a personal business, and yes, it is. You want to make it personable, you want to build the relationships. But at the end of the day, guys, like we're in sales. You know, that's the number one thing. So you got to become a better salesperson. You're not just selling houses, you're selling yourself. You're selling that contract, you're selling that house, you're selling that showing, you're selling that listing, you're selling yourself to get that listing from another agent. So learn to be a better salesperson. Learn the objections, learn how do you handle yourself when people say things. Everything's a script, you know. When you meet with agents, when you meet with buyers or sellers, it's all a script. You keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. And also too, like, ask for the close. That's very important. Sometimes, a seller will say like, oh, you know what? I gotta think about it. Okay, cool. Well, call me next week when you're done thinking about it. No, 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 no. You gotta keep pushing. Like, well, what do you mean you gotta think about what did I miss? Like did I not go over everything? Like, what's going on? Like, oh, I gotta wait for my wife. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure your wife will love for you to get that stress out of her hands and go and put it back on you. So I think it's better for you to make the decision, right? And like, oh yeah, there's so many things you can say, right? But learning the
Absolutely.
scripts, don't give up on the first no, and keep pushing until at least five, minimum five.
Yeah. And I agree. When I cold call, my goal is for them to hang up on me violently or get the appointment. That's kind of where I'm at with that. That's awesome. And I 100% agree with you. What should agents start doing tomorrow morning to begin transforming their business?
Wake up early. Just
What
get
time?
up at least 6 o'clock. I know there's people that work. Liz Goodchild wakes up at 5 a.m. Congratulations, But I'm sure there's a lot of people that just get up at 6, get up at 5, whatever what time it is, and get up. Get out the bed, get out your house, get out there and sell some houses. Go to the office. If you don't have an appointment, so what? Just go to the office and just be there, feel that energy, be around people. Don't be stuck in your home and you get distracted. Just get up and do something. If you have
Yeah.
a full-time job, I mean, that's great after work. Just like, but when I always think about it, like when it's just me, right? When I had a full-time job and a part-time job, guess what? I'll get my full-time clothes on, and then in my backpack, I'll put my part-time clothes on. So once I punched out, I'll go to my other job with my clothes, and then I'll change and I'll do that job. Same thing here, guys. Like, go to your full-time job and then put something in your backpack and then come to the office. Same as simple,
Awesome.
like we make it. I mean, if someone worked at McDonald's and full time, and then you worked at Target, you're gonna put that red shirt in your backpack and you're gonna go to work and you're gonna put it on, right? So same thing here. You just gotta let's go. Stop. Don't waste time. Like, oh, I gotta go home and eat, and I gotta go do this and this and that, and then boom, there goes your day, and then you're done, and you don't do nothing. So that's why it's
Right.
important that you come prepared, get the mindset that you're gonna kill the day, and let's go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things you said in the video, um, do not wait for perfection, something like
Oh
that.
yeah. You can't let perfection stop progress.
There you go.
That's very, very important. Like how many times you guys did a video and didn't post it because like, oh, I gotta edit it, oh, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, or oh wait, I was gonna call these 10 people today, but I wasn't sitting at my desk or whatever the case is, and just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely.
Get
If you
get
guys
that
didn't write
feeling.
that down, you guys need to write that down.
Yeah, don't
Um,
let perfection stop progress.
awesome. Awesome. And I think that's 100% true. You just got to just take the left foot and then the right, you got to keep marching on. Right. What does success in real estate look like for you now compared to when you started?
When I first started, I just wanted to put my name out there, get an award, put something that says, that I did something. I remember my first closing, I was super excited. I was like, yes, I finally got a closing. But now I mean, I still focus on deals, I guess 1,000%. But to me, like, I want to, like, for example, like that March Madness award. You guys know about the March Madness? They just do that thing again.
Have you heard about March Madness? Type in the
The
one on the chat.
About the competition that we have at
The one in
Roa.
Puerto Rico,
Yeah.
the March Madness giveaway, Puerto Rico, all expenses paid by Roa. Yes. Okay. I said a
Yes, you
one.
get
Nah, just kidding. Awesome, guys. Awesome.
like to me, like I was like, oh hell no, like I better win that one, even though I could fly them myself, right? But I want to be the one that did it.
Yeah.
And I want anyone here in Chicago to win. Oh, I would be so heartbroken if someone in California or Texas wins it. I'm like, Jesus.
Hope they get spirit.
Yes.
Nah, just kidding.
But good luck
Just
to
kidding.
everyone though. Good luck to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. I just heard about it today.
Come on,
Okay.
Lupe. You can do it.
We can all do it. Absolutely. So I kind of want to open up to our audience here. Does anybody have a question for David Dominguez? This is an opportunity to, ask him any type of question you guys might have. Anything in particular you guys want to ask him? Please unmute yourself. All right. No one?
Hey David, I got one.
Who's
Hey, what's
this?
up, Ian?
How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm relatively new, but I'm really curious on what was sort of your favorite system to put in place as you grew all your numbers.
As regarding like when I first started.
Yeah, once you were getting some really good traction, what was some of your most like your best ROI on a like a good system that you put in place to really get the numbers down?
Um, Obviously social media was big, but I would focus on making sure you have a system and learn the system, a follow boss in your CRM. Like really dial in and really learning it because it's very simple, but you can do a lot of great things with it. So understand your CRM system, uh, focus on prospecting and do a lot of open houses, man. Because honestly, like open houses kind of like trains you to get out of your comfort zone and talk to random people that just walk into the door and be like on the go, like boom, 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 let's go. And when you see like two, three families come in at the same time, you're like, oh man, like who should I talk to? And then you get, kind of like get that the energy or adrenaline out of you and do a bunch of open houses and post on social media. One of the things that I always train agents on and talk to agents about is, you know, talk about your evidence of success. Put it on social media. Evidence of success basically means is that like, you the just listed, just sold, what you're doing on social media. Hey, you just did a showing, you did a buyer's consultation, you did a listing appointment, you did something that's showing that you have success in something. Evidence of success. I train on that a lot in my with my agents. So train on that evidence of success. Every time you have a new listing, new contract, new deal, or whatever it is, share it. For all you people here, I mean, please follow me on social media. Like I'm always posting everything I am doing on social media. And
Absolutely.
if you're not posting, you got to post.
I
What
have
is
a
your rule you
question.
used to have? Yes.
Um, Being that social media is the new, not the newest thing, but yeah, the most used, platforms to advertise. Has it been more difficult for you to post on social media, or is it kind of like second nature now?
No, I mean, it's pretty, I mean, I'm not saying it's easy, but I mean, I try to do as much as possible. I honestly, like, I'm just trying to post just to post sometimes, anything that I'm doing. Obviously, I'm gonna probably post a little quick clip of this, right? Letting people know that what we're doing together as a community, but just, post stuff. Obviously, you don't want to be posting stuff that like, for 5 days straight you were at the restaurants, just having a michelada or whatever the case is, right? That's really, yeah, you tell people who you are, but that's the problem is you really tell people who you are, right? You want to tell people that you're successful, you're in real estate, you're all about business, you're doing success work. Obviously, post maybe stuff about your family and stuff, which is amazing. But also, if you're gonna post food and stuff, do it fun. Be like a critic. Everyone's a critic nowadays on social media and talking about like, oh, five restaurants to go to in whatever Bucktown or something. I don't know. But being intentional of what you post, right? Don't just post this to post, just make sure you're posting good content, you're posting good stuff. Don't overthink it either. Just do it, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of posting and making videos, can everybody do me a quick favor? I know you guys have your phones next to you guys. Can you guys like take a quick video or picture of your screen or monitor or screenshot and tag David and I on Instagram or on Facebook, por favor? When you guys get a minute, tag us, take a picture, video, and tag us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, David and
Yes.
Israel. It'll mean a lot. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So, anybody else have any other questions for Mr. David Dominguez? All right. Well, guys, thank you guys so much. Thank you, David, for joining me tonight. I know it's a little bit past your bedtime, but
It is.
I appreciate you joining us. I appreciate you, having talking to everybody here about your wins and how you've been able to scale over the years. And I've been one of your biggest fans. I've seen you since before you became real estate. I was very nervous when you quit your corporate job. I was like, what are you doing? Why? I couldn't believe it when you did that. I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't got no money, man. so, so like, all right, man, God bless you. But no, you did awesome. and it's amazing what you've built, and I'm just trying to follow suit, man. All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you guys. Everybody have a good night. Thank you guys. I'll be posting this on YouTube hopefully soon. And if you guys didn't get to join, hopefully you get to join on the next one. All right. Thank you guys.
All right, bye everyone. Good night.